For me, summertime is when Michigan really comes alive. It means time at the lakeshore, camping, and long hikes with Strawberry. But it also means an abundance of delicious, fresh food and produce. It wasn't until after living here for years that I learned Michigan is the second most agriculturally diverse state in the U.S. So I wanted to spend a little time learning more about food cultivation in Michigan and gain a deeper understanding of how growing food might help build a more meaningful relationship to nature.
So what are your guys' relationship to food? Do you try to source local or organic? Is that something that comes up for you when you're getting food?
Yeah, I mean, it does for me. Like, I try as much as I can, you know, like, definitely the food system makes it very easy and convenient to choose other options, but as much as I can, I like to grow what I can at home during the summer. There's nothing better than, like, fresh tomatoes in the summertime, cucumbers. The more you learn about how food is processed, the more it makes me mindful of what's going into things before they even come into my house.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm diabetic, and so I've been learning how to eat better. And the more you learn from documentaries and things of how food is processed and healthier choices for you, that has been a big learning curve for me. I also have family who work in the blueberry fields or apple farms, and so whenever they have any produce, I'm like, hey, give me some.
So I think sometimes there's sort of negative associations with cultivating our own food, right? Like within our communities, just exploitative labor practices and how that shows up in our histories and our present.
Yeah, I'm a proud daughter of migrant farm workers, and I still have family that still continue to do that type of work. And so I know that from seeing them, they work long hours, 7 days a week, from like 5 a.m. till like it's dark, 8, 9 o'clock at night. Depending on what type of fruit and vegetable they're picking, they are paid by how much you pick. It's not by hours. And it's in hot sun, under the hot sun. You're outside all day. And so that's the experience that I've had from my family.
What about you? What kind of things do you see in Black communities as it relates to sort of negative associations with farming or getting your hands in the dirt?
I mean, obviously there is the history of slavery in this country, which is, the exploitation of labor and the backbone of our economy. But I think one of the things for me that always remained important is that by being able to farm land, you have a way of being able to take care of yourself and provide for yourself. Yeah, I think if we can really understand the power in farming and that it's not about what was done to us, but it's about this skill that lives in us and that is a part of what we can use to not only survive but thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. This cheese? Yeah? Like that? Okay, cool. So I've been wanting to kind of learn a little bit more about farming and food cultivation and ways that, farmers are connecting to nature through food, but also are helping to connect other folks in their communities to nature through food and access to food that is, farmed ethically, that is, good for the land, good for the people, all of those things. And so my friend Devon at Sunlight Gardens asked me if I'd be willing to come and check out the farm for a day. So would y'all be interested in coming with me and kind of checking it out and, maybe doing a little bit of harvesting? Maybe we can cook some food.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sounds like a great time.
We're headed down to Battle Creek to meet up with Devon, founder of Sunlight Gardens. We're hoping to learn more about what it means to increase access to food and farming skills in Michigan.
I did not know that was a thing, by the way.
Yes.
I plant them with my tomatoes, but I didn't know why.
We plant marigolds with our tomatoes. These bushes here are marigold flowers, and they protect the tomatoes from the pests.
I'm a Mexican, and so on November 1st and 2nd, part of our culture and tradition is to do an altar for the dead. And marigold flowers are a part of that altar because they symbolize like the path that we guide our loved ones towards heaven. But the smell also brings people towards the altar because they have a really nice smell. So when you're next to the altar, you're smelling also the flowers.
Nice, that's awesome.
Native to Mexico and many other countries in Latin America, marigolds are believed to be both mystical and ancestral. They have long been associated with honoring the departed and used in traditional medicines for treating digestive issues, easing coughs, reducing inflammation, and even soothing skin irritations.
My name is Devon Wilson, and right now we are at Sunlight Gardens, our urban farm here. So welcome.
Thanks so much for having us. We're really excited to just see what you have going on here, learn more about the impact that you're having in the community, and let's get started.
This is our main outdoor production field out here right now. We grow a lot of greens. So, being an urban farm is very important to grow what our community likes to eat. As you can see, we're surrounded by our neighbors. So we very quickly found out our community, we love greens. Dino kale, collard greens, some curly kale. The second stand, we have a lot of green onions, tomatoes, basil, and garlic. In the back, we have a lot of summer squash, zucchini, a lot of really high productive crops. We like to grow crops that we get multiple harvests from, really make the best use of our space, being that we are only on 2 acres.
Devon, tell us what you do here.
Yeah, so our mission is to increase access to local food and inspire the next generation of farmers. So we do that in a lot of different ways. But when I really think about it, at the core of what we're doing a lot is connecting people back with nature, connecting people with the soil, and helping them build a relationship with their food. And I think that helps us really achieve our mission. Yeah, let's check out the cucumber greenhouse here.
Yeah.
So you can see we string them up that way that they can reach their highest potential. Growing up to the top here, you can also see there's a lot of cucumber beetles up there too.
Oh,
Trying to attack our plants. So that is actually why we plant dill here. And the dill is pretty small still, but
Oh, is that what dill looks like?
that's dill, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So it's pretty tiny.
Can we touch the
But
plants?
of course,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And the dill it's a companion plant, so it wards off the pests that like to eat the cucumbers.
Infestation of pests or disease can occur more quickly if you plant all the same crop close to one another. By growing certain types of plants together, or companion planting, growers can rely on healthier soil and fewer harmful insects while maximizing their space and making the nutrient-rich food taste even better. It's especially helpful for organic growers looking to avoid the use of pesticides.
Devon, I know you also do some work here with youth and also with some workforce development and getting folks engaged in farming and gardening.
So a part of increasing access, to me, you really have to have more practitioners, people that are providing the local food to create a strong local food system. So we do a lot of different tours, workshops, engagements with youth to just show them what a farm is. We've been creating a program that we're calling Project Feast. So it's food, education, and agricultural systems training that is going to be a workforce development program to actually, it's just a step above, we take the kids on the farm and let them have a tour. This will be actual training, with the curriculum to really understand how they could see themselves in the food system. This was one of my friends, Loic. He's actually a French artist, created this mural for us, and it says, "It always seems impossible until it's done." And I love that quote because, when you have a strong drive, big dream, aspiration, sometimes it just seems impossible. especially in the beginning, but you just have to keep going. You have to find the strength, make the connections, and get it done. And then once it's done, you look back on it and it's like, wow, we did that, you know? And then obviously Nelson Mandela, just an incredible human, someone that feels like represents, you know, freedom, free thinking.
Sovereignty.
100%,
Yeah.
you know, sovereignty, yeah, definitely. And just a community leader, someone who had very good principles and morals that I think we could all learn from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you said you have a store.
Yeah.
So what's your store called?
So the name of the store is Pharmacy,
Love that.
where
Okay.
food is medicine.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Welcome to Pharmacy, come on in. So as you can see, it's a healthy corner store is what we have here. The goal is to have things that are still flavorful, you know, fun, fresh, familiar to our community, but also healthy. And then also we have a ton of fresh produce. So we have produce that we harvest right here on the farm, but then we also work with over 40 different farms in the area to source meat, fruit, and vegetables that we don't grow.
Very cool.
So
So it's kind of like a hub also in a way, like a farm hub in some ways where you're working with collaboratively with other farms.
100%, yeah.
Very cool.
How do you sort of like manage cost? Because obviously that's the thing that comes up all the time is eating healthy organic food is more expensive than eating processed
Processed
food.
food,
Yeah.
100%. So part of it is we try to do, like I said, that education and let them know, you know, okay, yeah, this is 50 cents or $1 more expensive, but this is why. Trying to make things accessible. We accept all forms of payment and also EBT and double up food bucks. You basically double your money when you're buying fresh produce, right? Like I grew up eating from convenience stores a lot. And it was always very unhealthy options. You know, honey bun, hot Cheetos, things that taste great, but they're not necessarily good for our bodies. And then we also try to push people to the stuff that we grow here because that is a little bit more affordable. We can charge less for that because we're growing it ourselves.
Walking around with Devon, I can't help but notice the countless bees and butterflies here on the farm. Pollinators are just as important to a farm as soil, seeds, or water. They come in all shapes and sizes, from hummingbirds to wasps to butterflies, bees, and bats. These small creatures are a big deal. Almost every single seed plant in the world, from trees to flowers, needs to be pollinated. Of the 1,400 crop plants grown around the world, almost 80% require pollination by animals. These animals and insects are so integral to a plant's production process that most plant species would not survive without them, and the entirety of the planet's terrestrial ecosystems, including humans, would cease to be. Collard greens have deep roots in African American culture because they were among the few crops that enslaved people were allowed to grow for themselves. Over the years, collards became more than just food, but a symbol of resistance. Today, collard greens embody the history, traditions, and stories of African Americans and remain a key staple in soul food.
What are your guys' experiences with farming and gardening?
So my grandparents all came up north to Michigan as part of the Great Migration. And obviously, as descendants of slaves, they grew up growing and picking produce. My grandma always tells us about having to pick cotton when she was little and how she hated it. And she'd stand around and get yelled at for not doing anything. She grew up on her grandparents' farm. So, unlike a lot of people at the time, her grandparents weren't sharecroppers. They had their own land and their own farm. And so that gave them a sense of agency. It was important for Grandpapa to make sure that they knew the importance of being able to care for yourself and care for your family, and not to have to rely on, especially white people, to be able to do that. sometimes I wonder if for me why that part of agriculture does feel more like part of our lives in a way that doesn't feel exploitative, if that makes sense.
I think that there's sometimes a definition of success that
Yes.
means getting away from the land.
Yes.
But what does that look like when there is food sovereignty, land sovereignty, and the autonomy associated with it?
Yeah.
It's very interesting how life or the way society sees a certain profession or career changes the perspective. Like my grandparents, they were farmers in Mexico. My great-grandparents were farmers. My parents growing up were farmers. So for them, success was their daughters going to college, getting an office job or career, and living in the city versus the country.
Yeah.
Even though working in the fields, it's my parents have taught me the value of having a strong work ethic and working hard so that you could become successful and be able to provide for your family.
So Veronica, what about you? What are your relationships that you have to farming and gardening? And you mentioned a little bit about your parents and your grandparents and even your great-grandparents, which is amazing. Have you experienced challenges or desire to distance from farming or the associations with farming like that come with farming?
My parents being migrant farm workers, many times when Cesar Chavez would come to Grand Rapids, they would go see him because they were also fighting for clean water and good working conditions. But then also, I feel like right now my father, he works in landscaping, and so he's always wearing long sleeve shirts and long pants to work instead of wearing short sleeve shirts or shorts. And his co-workers make fun of him, but he understands that the color of our skin, it's already dark. And even if it gets darker, we understand that that's gonna have negative consequences for us. If your hands are full of dirt, that means that you have a low-paying job and you're lower class. If you're darker in skin, that also has a negative connotation with society. Even
it
though
implies
it's
that you are working outside, you're a laborer.
working outside,
Okay.
yeah.
My father lived to be 92, and his mother lived to be 102, and so it doesn't take many generations back for me to connect to my enslaved ancestors, but also to have heard their stories and seen the world, heard how the world was for them.
While spending time observing the interconnectedness of these plants and animals, I'm reminded of a quote by American anthropologist David Abram. I learned of the intelligence that lurks in non-human nature, leaving one open to a world all alive, awake, and aware. It was in small beings that my senses first learned of the countless worlds within worlds that spin in the depths of this world that we commonly inhabit. And from them that I learned that my body could, with practice, enter sensorially into these dimensions. Our time sharing stories with one another has shown me how healthy food systems and healthy relationships to food cultivation can be deeply connected to exploring the roots of our ancestral and cultural ties to the land, and to understanding the interconnected roles everyone plays, from farmer to butterfly.